The movie opens with Zhang Qi, a passionate rally driver, reminiscing about his journey as he talks to his son, Zhang Fei. He shares his dreams of racing, proudly recalling his 5 victories at the Bayanbulak Rally, the top rally race in China. This challenging event takes place 4,000 meters above sea level, surrounded by perilous cliffs and dense forests. At just 32, Zhang Qi not only claimed his title, but also welcomed his son into the world. However, his racing career comes to an abrupt halt due to a rule violation that leads to his suspension. Now, they are on their way to the Automotive Association, hoping to plead his case and regain his spot on the rally circuit. In the association office, the chief officer asks Zhang Qi to explain why he was suspended. He shares how his career fell apart after he accepted an invitation to participate in an illegal race with an old Santana car. While he was winning the race, he had no idea that the police had set a trap. When he gets caught, the officers question him about why he took part in the illegal race. He reveals that the owner of the Santana promised to help with his son's residency and school enrollment if he won. Instead of securing a better future, he ends up with a 5-year suspension from racing. After recounting his story and acknowledging his mistakes, Zhang Qi pleads with the officials to let him race again and restore his honor. Moved by his honesty, they agree to allow him to return to racing after he passes some physical examinations, emphasizing that he must follow all racing regulations moving forward. Once the meeting concludes, Zhang Qi seeks out Chief Wan Heping, the one who approved his return. The chief expresses hope that he has learned from his past mistakes, but reminds him that the new generation of drivers is tougher and more skilled. He advises Zhang Qi that he needs to practice hard to keep up with the competition. Later that night, Zhang Fei asks his father why he chose the name Zhang Fei. Zhang Qi explains that his own father's name was Zhang Yang, and his arrogance caused a lot of suffering for him. He chose the name Zhang Qi for his son to inspire him to take control of his life. Zhang Qi wants them to be a team, calling themselves Fei Qi, which is why he named his son Zhang Fei. Zhang Fei mentions that a friend's dad, who is also a driver, wants to race with him. However, recalling his past decisions, Zhang Qi declines the idea of racing anyone at the moment. After tucking Zhang Fei into bed, he calls his old friend Sun Yuqiang, who reveals he has been waiting for his call for 5 years and invites Zhang Qi to meet him at the amusement park where he works as a green dinosaur. The next day at the amusement park, Zhang Qi spots a green dinosaur and hugs it, excitedly asking his co-pilot to join him back in racing. However, he quickly realizes he has mistakenly hugged Yuqiang's wife. The 3 of them sit down to chat, and Zhang Qi encourages Yuqiang to return to racing, with his wife supporting the idea. Zhang Qi reveals he does not have a car and needs to take a driving test the next day. Then, flashbacks show key moments from Zhang Qi's life. He discovers Zhang Fei in his car and learns through a paternity test that he is not related to him, but he chooses to raise him anyway. Zhang Qi was once wealthy, but after his illegal racing, he faces heavy losses from sponsors and his racing team, leading him to bankruptcy. At the test area, the instructor asks Zhang Qi why he was suspended. Zhang Qi lies, saying it was for drunk driving, but the instructor is not impressed and expresses to fail him. He then changes his excuse to speeding, but the instructor still disapproves. As the instructor marks his sheet, Zhang Qi pleads for a chance to demonstrate his driving skills. The instructor reluctantly agrees, but when Zhang Qi accelerates, the engine explodes, causing him to fail the test. In the next scene, a young racer, Lin Zhengdong, who has ranked in the top 10 of Forbes Sports for 3 years in a row, is seen testing his car on the racetrack. He has a skilled team that helps manage and test his vehicle. The next day, Zhang Qi meets with the instructor again. He apologizes for the earlier damage and explains that he understands the dangers of drunk driving, because a drunk driver once hit the instructor's best friend, whom he still cares for. Zhang Qi then offers the instructor a bundle of money, saying the repairs cost 10,000 RMB, but he is giving him 20,000 RMB. The instructor decides to give him another chance to demonstrate his driving skills, and eventually Zhang Qi earns his license. That evening, Lin Zhengdong approaches Zhang Qi and they talk on the roof. Lin expresses his desire to race against Zhang Qi, saying he has admired his driving since he was 18. He shares that his parents sent him to Britain to learn driving, which is why he knows Zhang Qi's strengths and weaknesses. Lin wants to race to prove he is not just winning because Zhang Qi is not competing. So he offers his business card in case Zhang Qi needs help finding sponsors. However, Zhang Qi feels confident in finding sponsors on his own and declines the offer. The next morning, Zhang Qi prints new racing shirts for his team and goes with Yu Qiang to rent a racing car. He believes his good relationship with manager Ye will help him. However, when Zhang Qi asks to renew their contract, Ye refuses, explaining that his boss thinks renting to Zhang Qi could harm their sponsorships due to his past mistakes. Upset, Zhang Qi and Yu Qiang begin to walk out when Ye calls them back and leads them to the warehouse. There, Ye shows them the frame of Zhang Qi's old car and suggests they sneak it out, handing them the key. As Zhang Qi and Yu Qiang attempt to sneak out the car, a guard spots them and activates the alarm, summoning other security personnel. Zhang Qi pleads with the guard, explaining that the car is nothing but junk to the company, but taking it would mean a lot to them. Despite his heartfelt appeal, the guard refuses to let them take it. Just then, Jixing, an old friend of both Zhang Qi and Yu Qiang, arrives on the scene. He steps in and talks to the guards, successfully convincing them to allow Zhang Qi and Yu Qiang to take the car. Jixing used to be a mechanic for their racing team, but retired from the front line after the incidents surrounding Zhang Qi. Now, he manages the warehouse. Grateful for Jixing's help, they quickly get to work, calculating the budget needed to restore the car for racing. After reviewing their finances, they realize that their savings will not be enough, so they set out to find sponsors. They approach a wealthy potential sponsor, but he immediately declines their request for support. They visit another restaurant in search of sponsors. When they arrive, they find a group of men passed out at a table from drinking. Zhang Qi approaches one of them, who in a dazed state mentions that their business is struggling and asks for cash flow help. Disheartened by their situation, Zhang Qi decides to leave. Feeling discouraged, they sit on a bench on the street and talk about their lives, reflecting on how racing gives them purpose and how much they want to win the upcoming race. As they share their thoughts, Yu Qiang suggests that Zhang Qi should go on a TV show and share his struggles to attract sponsors. With no options left, Zhang Qi and Yu Qiang head to a TV show, where Zhang Qi must explain his dream in just 1 minute to catch the attention of sponsors. Once they reach the stage, the host introduces the main sponsor as Lin Zhengdong. Seeing him, Zhang Qi feels overwhelmed and refuses to continue, walking off the stage. In the backstage area, Yu Qiang encourages him to go back and share his story, highlighting the difficulties Zhang Qi has faced. When Zhang Qi hesitates to continue, Yu Qiang opens up about the troubles in his own life. He shares his struggles and emphasizes how important it is for both of them to push through their challenges. After considering Yu Qiang's words, Zhang Qi decides to return to the stage. He puts on a jacket with the words "Seeking Sponsorship" written on it, intending to reveal it after sharing his story. However, as he tries to zip his jacket, the zipper gets stuck. The timer also runs out, leading him to fall into a deep hole off the stage. Meanwhile, Lin praises Zhang Qi to the crowd, trying to rally their support. Despite this, Zhang Qi and Yu Qiang are escorted out of the hall. As they leave, Yu Qiang mentions that manager Ye had called him and supposes he has news that might be good for them. The next day, manager Ye visits Zhang Qi to deliver some bad news that he has been fired. The news is not bad for Ye, though, as he is planning to take a vacation using his savings. Before leaving, he hands Zhang Qi a computer board he used during his racing. Later, Yu Qiang suggests they meet another wealthy man who might sponsor them. They go to a restaurant to meet him, and he proves to be easy to persuade. quickly agreeing to fund them on one condition: he wants his girlfriend's name on their racing suit for $1 million. Upon hearing the price, they readily accept his terms, and the man also insists they sing and dance for him as part of the deal. With enough funding, they manage to finish and test the car just in time for the race. As the rally approaches, Jiangqi and Zhang Fei board an aircraft to head to the event, while Yu Qiang transports the race car in a truck. Unfortunately, Yu Qiang gets into a serious accident on the way, damaging the vehicle. When they all arrive at the racing area, Jiangqi is heartbroken to see the car in ruins. Yu Qiang apologizes and asks Jixing to help repair it. He also considers approaching their sponsor for additional funds, willing to accept any conditions. Just then, a race official arrives, stating that Jiangqi needs to sign a withdrawal application since both the car and his co-pilot are in poor condition. As he prepares to sign, Lin steps in, offering his support and reminding Jiangqi that recent technological advancements could change the game. He instructs his team to assist in fixing Jiangqi's car. Jixing joins in as well, and with everyone's combined efforts, they manage to get the car ready by morning. As the race starts, the commentators reveal that Jiangqi will compete solo because his co-driver, Yu Qiang, failed the physical exam after the recent accident. Going without a co-driver presents significant challenges, as it is difficult to remember the lengthy route, which also has many blind spots. Despite these obstacles, Jiangqi is determined to tackle the rally on his own. The cars depart with a 5-minute interval between each, allowing them to have a clearer view of the road ahead. This setup adds a strategic element to the race, but for Jiangqi, the absence of a co-driver means he must rely entirely on his own skills and instincts. One by one, each race car takes off from the starting line. Jiangqi starts behind, lagging by 9 seconds. Each driver is guided by their team, and Jiangqi receives support from Yu Qiang and Jixing, who provide updates on the car's condition and the road ahead. As the race unfolds, chaos erupts. Some cars suffer mechanical failures, while others get stuck behind a flock of sheep. A few drivers face more serious issues like tumbling off a cliff and igniting in flames. Amidst the turmoil, Jiangqi spots one of the burning cars and recalls a lesson he taught his students. Success comes from practice, and the secret to winning lies in devotion. Both Lin and Jiangqi showcase their exceptional skills on the track, thrilling the crowd. Lin crosses the finish line first, clocking in at 59 minutes and 58 seconds, becoming the first driver to finish the rally in under an hour. He steps out of his car, eagerly scanning the horizon for Jiangqi's arrival. Finally, Jiangqi races past the finish line, victorious. But his car suddenly malfunctions, sending him soaring off a cliff. The crowd gasps and an eerie silence falls. The race may have declared a winner, but the ending remains shrouded in mystery. In the final scene of the movie, Jiangqi and Zhang Fei sit in their car, ready to take on a jet in an exhilarating race. As they accelerate down the road, Zhang Fei inserts a coin into a special slot in the dashboard. Suddenly, the car transforms into a flying vehicle. With excitement in their eyes, they soar into the sky, leaving the ground behind.